now live. Facebook and Insta. Elastoproof celebrating 15 years. We'll just give you another minute or two and we'll kick this baby off. There we go. Tempo Tiling joined us. How you going, guys? Sealed Up Waterproofing. Guys, how are you? Thanks for joining. Aqua Room Tiling. Thanks, guys. Stavros, good to see you. A few more coming through on Facebook now. Looks like this time might be popular in the evening. Guys, you've been able to sort of put your feet up, have a cold beer, I suppose, after a hard day's work. So thanks for joining this time. We've got Barley Bathrooms joined. How you going, guys? Wave back at you. Great to see our followers joining in this evening when we're talking about the Elastoproof range celebrating 15 years. So we'll give it one more minute and we'll get ripped into this because a few people are flying in now on both Facebook and Instagram. Barley Bathrooms, you are in the video. Thank you. So we're going to start, guys, on talking about the Elastoproof range, 15 years. It's been an incredible journey for us. You might have seen our YouTube video last week on Sealed for Good where I spoke about the Elastoproof range and what it's meant to us. Adelaide Tiling's joined. Hey guys. So this is a real big one. Chico Tiling's joined. How are you guys? This is a popular time. Fantastic. So Elastoproof really has been a defining point for us in the Gripset range. It was a big decision that we made back in 2004. We were a completely different business from then. FC Tiling's joined. How are you guys? Wave back at you. And what really was always the bugbear for me, and I'm going to tell this story, it's been in a few of our YouTube videos, but I'm not sure if the message got across clearly, but you'd all be familiar with products like our RF fabric. And back in the day, we used to use this with either a sealant bead, or some of you might be old enough to remember that you would actually use wet-in fiberglass surface systems. How are you guys? And we'd embed a membrane like the Gripset 38 or our Gripset RD at the time that we had flexible membranes, elastomeric membranes, and you bed them into these fabrics or fiberglass, and it really defeated the purpose because what would happen is you had a high quality elastomeric membrane, you embedded it into a fabric or a geotextile or a fiberglass, and you took all the absolute elastic properties away from it. Before I go on, I'm just going to say hi to Fazil. Hi, Alan. Thanks for joining. And so it was madness. But the thing was, at the time, we had no other option. And I would battle this all the time. I'm having discussions with my dad. You can see him in the background there, where we would talk about this. And I was frustrated for the hell that we were in a country where 90% of construction was in timber frame, which was really the dominant waterproofing requirement at the time. And we'd end up going down the path of, John Webber, how are you? We'd end up going down the path of embedding these fiberglasses or fabrics into a membrane, and at the area where you needed the most protection and the most movement, we had something rigid. And you can go with high strength, but at that junction, I really struggled with it a lot. So this went on for a decade, and it really frustrated the hell out of us. So then we came through with the magical Elastoproof range, which I know many of you that are watching love this. Drylocks, join us. How are you guys? And what has happened, got Pasky join us there, how are you? What has happened with this range is that it really just redefined the way that we waterproof in Australia. And many of you might think that's a whole lot of gobbly-gobble, but it's not. Actually, the fact is we've influenced many other manufacturers which I wanted. And at the time, I had some of my staff, I remember my sales manager at the time say, Phil, we don't want other companies to use this range. And I said, no, we want everybody to use this range. We want other companies to use it. Demac Timbers joined. How are you guys? And the reason being is that would change the mindset. So the large companies like Mapei, Bostik brought a grade out, and I can't remember if Arctics did. I know they came through with their STB tapes, but these were the companies that we actually wanted to embrace this method of sealing at the critical wall floor junction and not just use sealants, because for me it was always a concern with sealant beads as a bond breaker, and to this day I still, you know, it's flexible, it's elastic, but it doesn't have the elastic recovery which this does. And the thing is, as you know, the way joints are at wall floor junctions, that is the bugbear. So this came about with our corners. We had our internal and external corners, and these were groundbreaking at the time, back in 2004. And I remember people just falling in love with them. And a lot of you that have just come across our range in the last few years have fallen in love with the Elastoproof range and the Gripset range in general, along with our friendly staff and our range and our systems. But this is the defining point. And a couple of questions came through this week about, which were really quite smart ones. And I like, can we use things like the B50 in immersed areas or underground, thinking it's only for bathrooms or balconies? The answer to that is you can use this everywhere. Underground, immersed areas, internal, external, with all our systems. And that's why we brought it out. We wanted to keep it really simple. Shannon's watching. How are you guys? And I've got a few others over there. CBC, New Line Ceramics, and the Groth one. How you going? Hey guys. So just on that, we always wanted to develop the system to ensure that it could be simplified. Tradesmen don't need anything to buy additional that they need for, you don't need 3 products for 3 applications. So this is our bond breaker system for class 1, class 2, class 3 membranes, and wherever you're waterproofing. Outside in the open conditions, underground, underwater in pools, tanks, bathrooms. And this was the groundbreaker for us, and to this day it still is. And this is our system, and it is part of our DNA now, and it's a real big one for us, and we love it. You know, and when we train people on it and they see how it's used, they don't go back to the old way, and it's madness. And when you really understand, hey Theo, how are you? When you really understand what this system has done for waterproofing, it just takes out all the guesswork and it covers you. And the thing is, you walk away knowing that where this is used, you've got great protection there. Hey Matt Napier, how you doing guys? And Terry's joined, how are you? So we went away from the RF fabric with an elastomeric membrane to the Elastoproof B50. We had our corners, which make life a lot easier, prefabricated, factory made, and we have the 90 degree and the 270 degree. And these ones I'm showing tonight because they are so underrated on how much time they save for the contractor when you've got those columns, you've got bath edges where you need to make a nice square centre. Aquatech, how you going guys? And Beck, how you doing? So, part of this then was where we came and developed these collars, and many of you know our smaller ones, okay, which are used around bath spindles and mixers, but we have these in the bigger size. I'm going to show you the bigger size tonight because it demonstrates really how it is used. But this here is, when I talk about elastic recovery, these systems that we've got with Elastoproof are what we consider not just waterproof, but they're rupture resistant, and that's a key piece. And I'll tell this story because when I was in Auckland many years ago, training guys, we had sealed a bathroom and I saw the pipe moving inside out waterproofing. How you going? And Azza Korish, how are you? So we saw this pipe moving just after we'd waterproofed the floor, and I couldn't believe it in the corner of my eye. I'm thinking, what the hell's going on here? And lo and behold, we found out the plumbers in the ceiling cavity below were in that ceiling, not knowing they were bumping the pipe, and freshly sealed waterproofing around that pipe seal was ruptured. And if we hadn't seen it, it would have been a weak point and would have been damaged. So this was the key part for us because the elastic recovery, you cut this at 60% of the diameter of the pipe. It's strangled next to the pipe, those of you who used it and seen our videos, and it's done. You can move that pipe as much as you want, it will not break the seal. You're not going to get that same finish or seal with a sealant. But the other important thing is, many contractors we've seen in the past and still do, they put a bead of PU or silicone around a pipe, hope for the best, paint their membrane on, and nothing bonds to it, or that's a weak point. And these are the areas where we see failures. From the decades we've been involved, I've not seen many failures I can count on one hand where you can see a square metre of waterproofing fail. just a square metre. It's always at a joint, a junction, or a penetration. And this is what the Elastoproof system does. That was the key piece of the Elastoproof for us because it took care of the critical parts. Now, Fazil's got a question here. Is it better to put down a coat on a joint and let it dry, followed by a second coat and apply the bond breaker while the product is wet? Good question, Fazil. The answer to that is that with the Elastoproof range, you still go through your surface preparation as normal and you prime as you have with all our specifications, but you only need to put a wet coat of the membrane down. So let's go back to Gripset 38FC. You would coat that down in the joint junction. You wet the joint band into that wet coat, and then you overcoat this afterwards. So this back corner piece is what goes up against the wall floor junction, and this is what's the facing of it, and then you coat over this afterwards. So you only need a coat to wet it in and a coat over the top. You don't need to put a coat down first to dry it as a membrane. This is already waterproof. This is rubber. It's 100% solids, nitrile butadiene. It will take chemicals. The only thing it doesn't handle is UV light direct, but when it's covered with a liquid membrane or our systems, it's fine. But you don't need to do anything else to it. It is waterproof, it is rupture resistant, it has a very high elongation, but more importantly, high tensile strength and high elastic recovery. And for you guys out there that are exposed to the dangerous areas of wall floor junctions, this is it. It's the gospel for us, and it's the key thing for us. And I know many of you that are watching now use this product. The only thing I get sometimes is where contractors at first up go, oh shit, Phil, it's going to cost us a lot more money. It doesn't cost you more money. I'm telling you right now, even if you're buying this at $2.50 a linear metre, which you're not, but if you're buying at that sort of rate and you actually analyse the time that you spend using a bond breaker sealant, then you put a fabric in it, then what the time you've got to wait for it to tack off and then put your membrane coating down, and then you still walk away without the security that this offers you, is going to cost you a lot more. Hope that helped, Fazil. So this is where we're very proud of the fact that many other players in the industry now have gone down this path. As I mentioned in last week's video, seen a couple of the other players out there now bring out their version of this. You can try and copy the how, but you don't understand the why. And this is all part of a system, and it's been with us for many, many years now and won't move away. And in addition to the joint band and the collars, we've had things like our Butyl range, which is joined the Elastoproof range as well. So many of you know our Butyl squares, okay, that these are the products that you should be using over your puddle flanges. They are literally, you can seal a puddle flange with this product in less than 2 minutes. And you can then instantly roll over it. And in that 2 minute time, when you actually factor that in, that is where you're going to save the money, and that is where you're going to make money, because your time is more expensive than the products you might be quivering over. To try and think, this might cost me more than putting a sealant around a puddle flange and then painting over it. Guys, you've still got risk involved, and secondly, you've got your time. And this is where, and I've got a couple of my fellas now watching now so they can get stuck in and put some comments in there, Alex and Shandy, about how this will help change the way that you seal around a puddle flange. And the other thing is, it bridges that gap. The most dangerous joint is around the perimeter of the puddle flange when it sits either in the concrete or through the flooring. And this makes all the difference. And so these are sorts of things, all this range, you should be carrying with you in your vans and your utes every day, because the fact is, it goes with all our membranes. The Gripset 2P, the Gripset 38, the P39, the Express, which many of you are starting to use now, getting into the colder months. Our C1P, even going back to our flagship original product, the Gripset 51, those that still use bitumen products, it goes with the whole range. And so it's there for you guys, it's there to protect you. And, you know, I've got to say that a lot of manufacturers will tell you, you know, the ones that talk a whole lot of bullshit will say that they've never had a problem. We've seen problems out there, we've seen problems with our range. When we've seen problems with our range, it's when they haven't followed the system, okay? And it's always about those areas I mentioned before: junctions, joints, penetrations. When this system is used with our corners, our joint band, and our collars at the most critical areas, we haven't seen failures, okay? And we've tested the buggery out of this, and not just in laboratories in Australia, but overseas, and really given it are hiding, and it actually stacks up to so much more than we ever thought about. Got a good question here from FC Tiling. When you use pre-made corners that you showed before, yep, and then you apply the bond breaker, how long does the waterproof take to dry where both the rubber touch? Okay, so I'm assuming you're talking about, good question, about the overlap. Fantastic question. So this is how they go in. So if you're using the external corner, and then the idea is we make these in the reverse, and then the joint band comes on top like so. And you would overlap that by 50 mil. The coating underneath that will take longer to dry, okay? But the reason we have the fabric facing on it, because it actually takes the water out of the membrane, and that will cure. And so we've seen other systems that have tried to copy this, and they then have to wait hours or days, or it just never dries with a water-based system. Our system dries, but it doesn't delay you. So going back to your question, you can then, once you've got that lap joint that's dried and sealed, you can then tile or screed directly over and put your second coat on. What is between the two rubbers? It will go off. It's what's on top to form that seal. It's the lap joint that needs to dry. If that lap joint is not dry between the membrane, the wet membrane on rubber to the fabric, then you've got to wait. But you can do the visual. But as you guys know, with things like the Gripset 38FC, our 2P, the Rapid, the Express, and our P39, you've got the ability to, or the BT Rapid, those of you going through Beaumonts and buying that, you've got the ability to get the tiles and next coat on real quick. Got another question here. Is Gripset products compatible with all types of adhesive, mate? Yes, it is. And I love that question. Thanks, Azza. So we have got for you in writing, and we don't put a gun to the head of our customers, and particularly our friendly tiling customers, to say you've got to use our adhesives. So we've got tile adhesives, but we're not an adhesive specialist. We have our adhesives for systems, for architects when they want a specification. However, we've got data on the Ardex, Mapei, Davco, all the major brands out there, and even some of the smaller brands that you might like or might be using. It's all about the application, okay, that's the important thing. So, for example, if you're doing a swimming pool and using our membranes, it's got to be a pool-grade adhesive. You can't go and use something that might be suitable for a kitchen over our membrane there. Our products are compatible with all adhesives. The only type of adhesive we don't recommend is a pre-mix adhesive because they don't dry. They're the paste adhesives. But the major brands, cementitious C2S1, C1S1, C2S2 grades that you would use in wet area applications that are suitable, we can give you a warranty and we put that in writing. If you want to get that grade to us, send it through to our tech department and we can give you that. What's the other question? And where would be the best place to buy all Gripset products? Well, I can tell you, any smart reseller of waterproofing products will have the Gripset range. Whereabouts are you based as? I can let you know, but there's, look, in Melbourne, Sydney, Adelaide, every city, Brisbane, even remote areas or country areas, we're in Illawarra, ACT now, Tasmania, WA, our friends over in Perth have got it, up in Darwin, in Cairns. You let us know where you are and our guys will guide you to resellers and tell them that you watch this show and Phil said, make sure you look after me. Tell them that and they'll look after you. So any other questions, please fire away. It's great to see all this activity, guys, really enjoying this. But I was talking about the Butyl. So besides our Butyl Square, we've got our Butyl Tapes as well. And we use the difference between Butyl Tapes and the Elastoproof joint band is the Butyl is really good for applications where you're going over a non-porous surface, a sealed surface. We use a lot with metal flashings on metals. If you can DM me after this or DM us after this live, I'll get our guys tomorrow to give you your reseller close to you. Still not socials on. How you going? So yeah, the difference between Butyl and the Elastoproof joint band is this really is for where you want elastic recovery and movement. The Butyl handles good flexing and movement. And so we use it a lot around flashings. Great on plastic. If you come up against a PVC flashing, but particularly single lume galvanised iron, we use it around strip drains. It's fantastic for that, where you've got all these plastic fittings now or metal fittings. But we don't use it on a joint where you're going to expect expansion contraction. That's the advantage of the B50 grade. The butyl is more for flexing and vibration. And we've now got that also, I'll let you know, in 1 metre wide membrane. And I was up in Gold Coast yesterday with our guy up there, Paul, and seeing some of the contractors using up there for applications on non-porous surfaces where they want to get it out quick. They can use the butyl 1 metre wide, self-adhesive, use our joint band on top, the Gripset 38 over the joints, or the P39, or any of the other membranes that are used, and then tile directly to it. So it's a great product, and we're using a lot for remedial applications where time is the issue. And I talk about time with you guys because that's where you're going to make your money. Understand time is where the critical factor is. Don't go and use some cheap, crappy product and have in the back of your mind, is this a quality manufacturer? Am I backed up by anybody? Use quality products backed with people that know their stuff. And I'm not saying that we're the only ones with the answers, but don't go with the shitty brands, okay? Because it will come back to bite you. And that's where our industry is at the moment. We're going through the shit because a lot of people are using the cheap crap. Follow the brands, they've got the data sheets, the technical backup, and the knowledge, okay? And they will be transparent and prove what they've got, and they'll leave nothing back hidden behind the curtains like the Wizard of Oz. That is, you've got to stop all that nonsense, okay? And go with the brand that counts, but when you've got that, you'll find you've then have the ability to ensure that you are protected and you're using a membrane that will actually help you move forward in this industry, and it's an important one. The Grot's got, how does the Elastoproof range conform to uneven surfaces like Renovations? That's a really good question, okay? So, look, the limitation you're going to have, if you've got really rough concrete, and I've seen some rough ones, if we use the example of when you've got situations with, say, someone's put their foot in a wet concrete slab and you're dealing with all those rough areas, you're going to have to even that surface off. It's not a miracle product, and that's the same with the Butyl Tape. But you don't have to use an expensive self-leveler. You can patch it with something like the 11YDM, so a Gripset 11Y or in a mortar, and just give it a patching or a leveling even. It doesn't need to be perfectly flat and even, but you don't want any voids, you don't want any sharp protruding parts, you don't want to be empty spots. Even that off, trowel it off. But the beauty of doing it that way, when you ask that question, is that will then, you don't have to wait for that to be bone dry with the 11YDM because that can still be damp. It can go under this joint band and it'll continue to cure. It won't impact your application time, and then you can get this down either with a 2P, C1P, or our 38 membrane over the top and wet it in, and off you go. So we're always conscious of ensuring you've got those systems that are not going to delay you. Like I said, your time is precious. We understand that you're charging out your time, not just the materials. And so you always hear that from me. So that was my next question. Haha. All right, no problem. Had a question before about the back-to-back warranty. So the back-to-back warranty that we issue is Cozy Tylen's joined. How are you? Mick Fizz has joined, and Lachlan, it looks like. How are you guys? Great to see you all join. Had a question about the back-to-back warranty and our GAP program. Our system is our system. Those of you that are coming through the GAP program now, and we've got guys booked in for weekends, so don't miss out, inquire through that, and that want that back-to-back warranty. If you get through the GAP program and you're able to offer that to your building clients, it is the system. You're not going to be a GAP practitioner and use a silicone bead or use a bit of that primer and our membrane. It's the full system, but you come through the program understanding exactly not just how to waterproof with Gripset, but your waterproofing knowledge is a lot more rounded and greater, and you'll be able to educate your clients on how to move forward and get the job done properly, and that will help you be leveled up far higher than some of the guys you're pricing up against. And at the end of the day, you're there to offer solutions, and you're there to offer longevity. Okay, this is the long game. We're playing the marathon here. This is an industry, I keep saying, that's tested by time. Okay, anyone can just sell a waterproofing product in, but you are judged by the test of time. And if you're successful with that, then from there, you can ensure that you keep your reputation going. We build homes and buildings in this country that have got generational value. They last. No one should be renovating a balcony or a bathroom 6 or 7 years after it's been waterproofed. Okay, that is ridiculous. So we've got to ensure that we're getting this right. Cork joined. How are you guys? If you've got any other questions, fire them my way, guys. What else did I get? How much can the elastic in the B50 stretch? Well, Good question. Okay, a couple of others have joined. Active Plumbing's joined. Active Plumbing Solutions. How are you guys? Give you a plug there. And We'll Build Projects. How are you? We'll Build Projects. Like the name. So how far will this stretch? When we did this test with another laboratory, and we've had it over both here and overseas, we could get this grade, our B50 grade, to stretch up to 15 mil from that joint. We don't specify this to go over expansion joints opening up to 15 mil, but we could get that. But what's important is that elastic recovery, as you can see the way it comes back. And that is the important part, and that's the same with our collars. Okay, we're going to talk about that. So you've got to understand how you can, and Zaisa Haytura has joined. I hope I got that right, guys. So this is the thing you need to understand. You're not going to get that with fabrics and silicons and PU sealants. You need the elastic recovery. That is the key, and that's what makes all the difference on the system on that. So in terms of how far can it stretch, we talk about it being, there's a specification on our data sheet on that, but normally if you've got a joint that's going to open 5 mil, this is pretty good for that. If you've got a joint that's going to open greater than that, it always depends on how wide the joint is to start with. We have got our XP range, our XPX range, which is not for tiling applications, but it's for expansion joints. Get on our website, and if you need details on that, I'll show you. In fact, I'm going to do a Gripset Seal for Good on the XP range, because that might open up the door for some of you guys that are dealing with expansion joints. Question that came through as well: is the Elastoproof range compatible with solvent-based adhesives and solvent-based membranes? Okay, so answer that. The grade of rubber we use, the NBR rubber, won't break down to a solvent. However, we can't guarantee the adhesion of a solvent-based membrane on this product. My guess is that it will work. I know our Gripset SB, which is not solvent-based, is MS-based, will bond pretty well. Ben Evan tiling joint. How are you guys? But you shouldn't be using any solvent-based systems where you're tiling or in wet areas. But there are applications where this system's used that aren't always tiled over. We haven't tested the solvent-based systems to bed it down with, because we don't make solvent-based systems. So that's where we're going with it. Okay, Barley Bathrooms. Use Gripset 38 for the first time today, coming from K10, but wish you would incorporate water bars into your system. I still have to bastardize searching for them. Water bars. Okay. Barley Bathrooms. I'm so grateful you used our Gripset 38 for the first time today, and I'm going to guess that you liked it over the K10. And I won't tell Devco, because they're probably not watching at the moment. Only the Ardex guys watch this one. But the 38FC, I'm sure you would have seen, has dried quicker and gives you that build and that coverage. Can you DM me tomorrow, and we'll look into that water bars one for you? If we can't help you with it, I will guide you to ensure that our team can help you find them where you need them. Okay? And I think you're referring to water stops. But let us know, because there's different ones for bathrooms and balconies, etc. But let us know. Always up for some comments and good advice on that one. So going back to solvent-based systems, if you are using solvent-based products, just check with us, or you might have to do your own test. But the solvent won't break down the rubber. That we can confirm. But will it bond to it? Not sure. Okay, any other questions? Please find me a way. Look, we've had a great following tonight. I'm really grateful that you've joined and come on board. Hey, I got this. Beck will kill me if I don't tell you this. Guys, $500, that golden ticket, are in these boxes around the country in our resellers. If you pick up a box, any box of our products, it could be the collars, it could be our B50 joint band, there are 3 golden tickets out there, like the Willy Wonka one that you would have seen when you were a kid in the movies. Those golden tickets, if you find it, $500 of Gripset product to your choice, whatever you want. So you get to choose what it is you want. It could be $500 worth of Elastoproof, 38FC, P39, 2P, or a product you never tried before. Even in some of our primers, the E6 or the OP, but it's there for you. So take that up. I want to see the faces of these winners around the country. Okay, so get that product in there, because it is out there. It's out there in the wide world of Gripset distributors and our resellers around the country, waiting for someone to take it away. Cork Right waterproofing, giving away hoodies for winter. Okay, answer me this question. Who else has said that? Hoodies for winter sound schmick. Guys, They're loving the teas? Okay. How many buckets of 38 FC did you use today? Give me the answer real quick. And there's a hoodie on the line for you. Bom, too late. All right. Corkwright and Azar Korish. Send me in a photo tomorrow if you're using a Gripset product, and I'll get the hoodie to you. 2 buckets of cork from Corkwright. That all comes through now. We'll build project use too as well. All right, guys, send me a photo in tomorrow. Say, Phil asked me to get it to you, and I'll get a hoodie to you and throw in your size, and I'll make sure the hoodies come for winter. And if you're really good, I'll throw in a beanie. But if you win this, the beanie comes for the price of $1. Is going to go to the charity that we donate to every month here. Corkwright done. All right, guys. Hey, this has been fantastic. I think this time slot, the guys that are watching, is this the time slot you prefer than 5 o'clock in the afternoon? You prefer this evening where you can relax and talk other questions? Okay. I'm being told to stop by my marketing department. If you are enjoying this, it's fantastic. Please throw them our way. And if this is the time that you like, we'll get more of these lives at this time. I understand that you guys work hard. You're probably catching up with your families and kids straight after work, or just need to do some of your paperwork, as we understand. That's why, if you use our products and you do things quicker, we'll win you more time and make you more money. So remember that one as well. I'll join you again. I want the hoodie. Are you going to use Gripset 38 tomorrow, AJ? Martini? Let me see. All right, guys. One more question here. I got the notification from Insta this time. Fabulous. I'm glad to hear that, FC Tiling. Thanks for joining us, guys. It has been fantastic having you on board. Really appreciate your engagement on this. We really love the engagement and the passion you show on Gripset products, and I'm loving this. Alan Prada, thank you, guys. Looking forward to seeing you more with us. And again, please, if you've got any questions, whether it's on GAP, our products, we're here for you. That will waterproof this country successfully and put some pride into the industry. Thanks for the live, guys. We'll see you next time. Enjoy. Do you think the Australian standard is sufficient? Sorry, Corkwright's asked one more question before I head off. No, I don't. It's not sufficient. It's not enough, and I believe it needs time for an upgrade. But as we've been preaching in our GAP program, it is all about now leading the way. And so we can't wait for the authorities to lift the standard. We've got to do this. We've got to do it. And so us as manufacturers, you guys as professionals, have the ability to make that change and lift that standard. And what I believe is going to happen is that the standards will catch up to the qualities having out in the marketplace. All right, guys, enjoy. We'll see you next time.